It looks like a lot of steps, but once you get used to this, this is just a cut and dry method of factoring trinomials. It's called the AC method, and in this particular instance, my A value is always going to be 1. First thing, we've got to write our trinomial in descending order. It gets its name AC from A is the number, the coefficient with my x squared, and C is my constant. Next thing, factor out any common monomial and hold on to it. Third thing, we're going to multiply A times C. That's why it's called the AC method. So whatever number is here, I'm going to multiply it by the number back here, including sign. Fourth thing I'm going to do is list quote unquote all factor combinations of A times C, and then I'm going to sum the list up. Number 6, if one of the sums matches the middle term exactly, then the trinomial is factorable. Or, if you have the correct number but the wrong sign, then change signs with the factors, and then the trinomial is factorable. If neither one works, then the trinomial is considered prime, which means not factorable. Use factors from step 5 that worked in step 6 to rewrite the middle term only. Then we're going to factor by grouping, which you've already seen. Write down step 2, which is that common monomial if necessary. Then write down common binomial factors in the first parentheses and write in the second parentheses the leftovers. 10, if you remultiply, you can check yourself. Now I've got an example here and a couple more that we're going to look at, and we'll see how fast this actually goes. It's not that bad. So first thing, this is in descending order. There is no common monomial, so steps 1 and 2 are complete. Step 3, get my number here, which is 1 times 8, gives me 8. Now list all quote-unquote factor combinations of AC. I will, if the value is positive, then I'll just do positive values. I always start with 1. So 1 times 8 will give me 8. 2 times 4 will give me 8. 3 doesn't work. I'm not going to write down 4 times 2 because that's going back up the other side. And this is why I said quote-unquote all factor combinations. So I've broken up into the factors. Next thing I'm supposed to do is look at this and add them. 1 plus 8 is 9, 2 plus 4 is 6. I'm looking for this piece right here, one of these sums that matches the middle. Technically what I'm doing is FOIL in reverse. So I'm trying to break up the middle. So I found my number, and it says right here, if one of the sums matches the middle term exactly, the trinomial is factorable. So I'm going to use those factors, which is 2 and 4, to rewrite the middle. And that's all it says. Notice it says rewrite middle term only. First and last stay as is. So I rewrote the middle. Plus 2 plus 4 does give me my plus 6. So I'm going to factor out an x from my first 2. So I get x parentheses x plus 2. A plus comes out. What's common here is a 4. Leaves me x plus 2. Now I'm back to factoring out a common binomial. So x plus 2 gets pulled out. Leftovers, which is the x and the plus 4. So I'm saying this right here is my factored form. Fairly condensed, fairly quick. Actually, there is a shortcut only when your A value is 1, and we'll look in just a minute. Step 10, if you'll go FOIL it, then you come right back with the original problem, which means I factored it correctly. Okay, this example. First thing, it wasn't written in descending order, so I got to put it in descending order. My A value here is 1, my B value is -5. So, I write down my -5, so I've got -1 times 5. That gives me this, but if I add them, it gives me 4. Remember, I need to add these, and I've got to get the exact same thing here. If you've got right number, wrong sign, change them both. Because if I change this to 1 times -5, I'll still have a -5, but then I'll end up with -4. And that's why I said change signs. So now remember, I'm going to use those numbers, those signs, 1 and -5, to rewrite the middle. There's my +1, -5. Remember, first term stays, last term stays. This right here, if you'll notice, I've rewritten. And that, if I add it, will give me my -4. Now let's go factoring by grouping. So out of this will come an x, out of this one will come a negative 5. So pull out an x, these are my x plus 1, pull out negative 5, there's my x plus 1. If you find two numbers that will work, when multiplied give you that a times c, and when added gives you the middle, it will factor, and these parentheses will match. So let me finish this up. My parentheses match here. Leftovers is the x and the minus 5. If you go FOIL this, you'll come back with this original problem. So let's look at this one. I've got 1 times negative 6. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So I've got negative 1 times 6, negative 2 times 3. If I add these, this gives me a 5. This gives me 1. Neither one will give me a plus 7. There's nothing out there that's going to work, so this thing's prime. You can't make it work. You can't change just one sign. You either change them both or you change them none. So that's the AC method when my A value is 1. So you need to go try some of those. Follow these steps because it's very important. Okay? Until the next one.